Hi, it's Nicole. Today I have a fun 3 card set featuring the new pasta friends set from Spellbinders. It has a fancy Italian name. I don't want to butcher it. It's like Buon Appetito or something like that. It's so cute. I love sets like this. I know some people do not like faces on things like food. This has faces, arms, legs. This was just so cute. I ended up kind of mixing and matching between like the Pasta Friends die set and the Ingredients Buddies die set. And it's just so cute. I did a lot of my die cutting all at once. I kind of had a game plan in mind for what I thought I was going to use. I ended up having a lot of extras. Here you can see I am somebody who very much needs to print out the assembly instructions for some of the Spellbinders die sets, which I love and appreciate that they offer those. I was actually trying to figure out an older die set the other day, and there's no assembly guide on the website, so I think it might be like a newer thing that they have started doing. So sometimes I end up cutting things from the wrong color, but I love to print those out just so I can kind of figure out like what is the weird little piece that goes behind like the face so that you're not inlaying eyeballs and stuff. I am using the Stay Saucy stamp set for all of these. There's no coordinating dies for these, but this first card, I'm going to just stamp it directly onto a rectangle that I cut with like the basic rectangle dies. And then I'm going to get a little bit creative with the sentiments on like card 2 and 3, and I'll kind of explain that when we get there. This first one, I didn't use the 3D embossing folder. I wanted to just kind of have something a little bit plain, a little bit simple, not plain, but you know what I mean? Kind of just dipping my toe into these, kind of playing around, and then like as I go, they kind of get progressively more detailed, and that's kind of on brand for me. I did go ahead and grab this silver cardstock from the Treasured cardstock line, and I'm gonna just kind of make myself a little mat here. I realized when I was making these that I only have one set of rectangles, and apparently Spellbinders has 2, and if you buy both of them, they will like do like the 1/16th layer. So I think I need to go back and get that because I can't cut things straight. So I did okay on this one, but I definitely think that I need to, I have reward points that I need to cash in. So I think I may go ahead and get the other set of rectangles. That way I can have like that really thin like layer. So for this first card, I thought I was going to be able to fit like a whole like pasta gang on the front. I was like, oh yeah, we're going to have like 4 or 5 of these guys. Unfortunately, I picked some of the wider shaped ones, so I'm only going to get 3, but this little like bundle of kind of like spaghetti noodles, he's so cute. The arms you can kind of have going up, down, straight out. Like, I love that they make it so that you can really customize like what these guys are doing. And I think there's even different legs. Somehow I may have only used the one leg shape, but there's one that kind of makes it look like he's jumping, and there's another one that he's like kind of leaning a little bit. So many different possibilities. Even like the macaroni noodle, I was able to put like his arm on the front. The little ravioli girl, I was able to put her hands together because I was like, okay, we'll give her something to hold later. So many different like scene concepts. My video is going up, like I'm doing the voiceover the same day that this is going up. It's also the same day that Spellbinders posted on their Instagram about this. And I have been seeing for the past couple days so many amazing projects with these. For some reason, I think a lot of people fell in love with these. I saw on the Spellbinders like fan Facebook group, somebody made it look like the blue pasta brand box that has like the window. She did where it said like HBD, so like happy birthday, instead of like Barilla or whatever it was. And it looked like the pasta box. And she had 2 other cards that were kind of like looking like grocery store products. And I was like, that is so insanely creative. And I've saved so many to kind of go back and like, you know, try the different things that people are sharing. I kept things kind of simple and true to like my style today. But this one is still sitting out on my desk because it was just so fun. So many different ideas that I was coming up with. And then, like I said, so many other talented people out there that I'm like, yes, I want to go lift that. I want to kind of take aspects of different ones, try some different techniques, that kind of thing. I did cut out some of the little like extras. The macaroni guy, I gave him one of the little mushrooms. One of them got an olive and like a turret tray. And then Ravioli Girl, I gave her like a little basil leaf to hold. And then I felt like I needed to fill in some of the open space. So I just grabbed some like silver flat back pearls. I want to say these are from Pink Fresh. I'm not 100% sure. But I felt like it would go with the silver border and then the silver from the little tray that the taller guy is holding. I really liked that they included things like the little bow because you could put it on the top of a noodle and kind of mimic like a hair bow. You could put it on the torso of one of them and have it be like a bow tie. Just so many different ways to change up how all of these look. And apparently I struggled to figure out where to put these. It's like the small details that I'm always like, is this enough? Is this not enough? Do they need to be in a triangle? Do they not need to be in a triangle? Sometimes you got to just start gluing, get them on there so that, you know, you can move on and keep having fun. I stayed kind of within the same color family for a lot of these. I knew that a lot of the pastas were going to be like those yellows. A lot of the accessories were going to be like red and green. So I felt like this lighter blue, which I think might be windy, I felt like that would be a good kind of contrast color for everything to sort of pop off of, especially any of the ones that I was cutting like arms and legs for. And then my third card, I ended up doing the gray that I cut everybody's legs with because I did one of my like favorite like design techniques for the third card. I did decide that I needed to fill in some space here, and the fork, I don't know what it was. The fork I absolutely loved. I was like, this is so fun. It's such a good size. I cut way too many of those and I used all of them. Card number 2, again, sticking with that windy color wheel cardstock, I did use the embossing folder, which is a 3D embossing folder called Al Dente. This was so like unique to me. To me, this is less whimsical, but still like on track with like the theme of everything. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do on this one because I don't want to cover up a ton of the like embossing. So I decided to just do like 2 of the little like characters. And originally I wanted to do 2 from the ingredient buddies. So like a lot of times if I'm working within a suite of products and I'm trying to like learn the dies, I'll kind of make 1 card with one set, 1 card with the second set. I wait till I kind of get a little bit further in the process before I start mixing and matching. This one by card 2, I was like, no, we're mixing and matching because the ingredients buddies has like an onion, a cheese wedge, a meatball with sauce, and a tomato, I think. And I couldn't get it out of my mind that the little meatball with sauce guy just needed to be with the spaghetti guy, like they were out here on a little date. Run with me with it, okay? Sometimes I have to tell myself a story to make the scene make sense. So I did mix these together. Now, again, this stamp set has so many pun heavy sentiments on it. It's so fun, so cute, but there's no coordinating like die where it's going to cut like where it like hugs the letters. So at first I thought I was going to do gray and then just cut it in a strip. I didn't feel like that had enough contrast, so I'm actually going to swap it out for the poppy, the red cardstock, and do white embossing on that. And then as far as trying to find a solution to cut it out, I do have like a handful of sentiment sets from Spellbinders. And so I just kind of keep them all together. And I dug through them because I was like, there has to be one that has that long skinny rectangle that fits the sentiments. And I found a glimmer set that had 3 different like rectangle banner shapes to cut out the glimmer sentiments with. And one of them fit the height really well. It was just a little bit too long. So what I ended up doing is I just run it through my die cut machine. So see here, it's super long. I'm gonna line it up on the left side, die cut it, and then scoot it over and have the die cut off the right as well. I could have used a trimmer, but sometimes I don't like how you can tell that like the edge that was cut with the die is like really smooth and has that like embossed edge, and then the one that you cut with the trimmer, it just looks different. So it was super simple to just run it back through twice and shift the die over. And then this is going to kind of give me a little like landing pad for my little meatball and spaghetti guys to stand on. I'm using another one of those forks. I'm telling you, they are just sized so well for so many things. I saw one today. I think it was in the Spellbinders Facebook group. She used the fork and made like a napkin for it to sit on out of like shaped rectangle dies. She used circle dies to make like a plate, and then she used like holly dies to make a pattern on the edge of the plate. And then she had used like the firecracker thing from Yana's holiday collection on top of the plate. Like it was such a good mix and match scene building moment that I like stopped and stared at it for a while. If you're not in the Spellbinders Facebook group, I feel like you should be. There's so many different good ideas in there. Spaghetti guy, I did go ahead and he got a hat. Again, a lot of times I'm just trying to fill in space, not have a bunch of open areas. And then I took a bunch of the basil leaves and tucked a couple behind them, and then made it kind of look like if it was like being sprinkled from the sky. So I've got 2 above, 1 down here below, and then just going to go through, cut off the overhang, and 2 of them are completed. Third card, this was one of my absolute favorite things to do, especially when die sets have all of those tiny little details, is I like to do this kind of like pattern paper sprinkle type effect. So I cut out like onions, tomatoes. I tried to use some of the different pasta shapes that I didn't use on the first 2 cards, but I had already die cut more of those forks. They were really good fill-ins for some of those skinny areas. They were also a way to bring in that silver. And then I fill in even like the smaller areas with like the basil and the mushrooms and stuff. For the sentiment on this one, I think I stacked 2 of the smaller phrases together on the same color as my background, but then I grabbed I believe this is from that rectangle set, so it's probably one of the smaller ones, and it fit perfectly around those 2. So I'm basically just making myself a little rectangle that this is going to go on. I really kind of like that tone on tone look where the sentiment and the background are the same kind of color, and gives it a little bit different feel than like card 2 where I've got the red. That's a high contrast from the background. And then I did go ahead and I cut 2 more from that same gray cardstock to go ahead and just stack them together and kind of give them just a little bit more structure, especially when I'm gluing them over like a lot of layered die cuts. It just kind of helps. And then I grabbed a ruler to go ahead and make sure that that was somewhat level. If I don't have anything straight on the front of the card to go off of, I'm gonna need some assistance to get that thing straight. And then I felt like I needed, some more small things to fill in a lot of those openings. So I just dig through like my embellishment drawer, and I found these really, really old. They're like matte enamel dots, so they're not shiny. And I basically took all of the white ones that I had, and I'm going to use them to kind of fill in because they're so old, I don't trust the adhesive on them, so I am going and using liquid glue on all of these. I like doing this because it does kind of help get through some of these older embellishments that I have and I haven't gotten rid of, and I feel like they fill in stuff like this. So that is my 3 completed cards. I hope that you go ahead and look at this new release from Spellbinders and all the other inspiration that I've seen this week with these. Leave me any questions you have down below. Subscribe if you have not. I'd love for you to join me, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.